Hello there. I'm guessing you're playing this video because you want to learn some web development, design a website, make a website for yourself or for someone else, and you're looking for some kind of tutorial. Well, this video is where you should start. Even if you just go to Facebook, Twitter, Google, and things like that on your computer and do nothing else, this should be the kind of skill that you'll be able to start on very quickly. To master it is entirely different thing, but to start and start making your own very simple websites, it is a piece of cake. If you have heard from someone who have told you that it is one of the most difficult things that you'll ever do in your life, that person is either crazy or don't want you to do anything in your life, and stay away from that person. Now, what I'm going to say today does not depend upon what kind of computer you have, what kind of operating system you have. It's all the same thing. You can do the same thing on Windows computer, Mac computer, Linux, FreeBSD, whatever you use. It is all the same. All you need to know beforehand is how to go to a certain folder, how to create a directory on your computer, and how to write in a text file. That's all. That's all I'm going to talk about today, and nothing more. Get your text editor ready because you are going to be using it all the time. Now remember, I make web development videos every Thursday and C++ development. If you want to learn more complicated and complex language, which is C++, I make a video every Monday. So if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel to get all of those videos, and you learn a lot from my channel. I promise you that. So are you ready? Because I'm about to start now. Open up your file explorer. In my case, I'm using Linux, so I'm going to use Dolphin. On Windows, it will simply be File Explorer, and Mac, you would call it Finder. Go to any directory where you would like to keep your website in. I'm going to go to my Documents folder here. I'm going to create a new directory called First Website. Go inside that directory and create a new HTML file. If you don't have this option, you can create a text file, but you have to change the file extension in the end from .txt to .html. And I'm going to call this index.html. Every website has an index file, and this is where when you type in a website name, it will go to index.html or index.php. We'll talk about PHP in the later videos. That's where it goes. That's the first file that your website looks into. So I'm going to open it up and check it out in the browser. So let me open it up with Google Chrome. So here's my Google Chrome. As you can see, this is completely empty, and this is the location where the file is stored. Now let's open this file with a text editor. I'm going to open it up with Kate. In Windows, you might have Notepad. On Mac, you might have text editor, something like that. Just open up in any Notepad or text editor. And as you can see here, in my case, I already have some contents filled in. So what I'm going to do here is actually just clear up everything, start from very beginning. And we are going to do some HTML coding here. The way HTML works is with a pair of tags. One is the opening tag, the other is the closing tag. The opening tags are written inside angular brackets, which is basically this smaller than sign and the greater than sign, so just like that. And closing tags is written with smaller than sign slash greater than sign, and you always have to give the name for these tags. So in here, if you want to define a person, then you can say person is your tag name, and the closing tag will be written as smaller than sign slash person. Alright, easy enough. Now inside this, you can define or write whatever you want. Now this is inside the person tag. So a HTML page it starts with a HTML tag because it is the entire page. So the first thing that you do is you're going to say that everything that you write in here is your HTML code. Now, HTML page basically has two main components. One is head. I'm just going to put the closing tag first. The other is body. The head part of your HTML basically contains the information that you don't want to be on the screen of your website. These are your meta informations, your website titles, the files that you want to include on your websites and things like that. So generally you put things that you don't want to be rendered on the screen in your head section, and whatever you want other people to see, you put that in the body section of your HTML page. I want this to be seen by everyone, and inside head, whatever you use, you generally don't want them to be seen by anyone. So you put things like title of your website. So to put title, you use another tag called title, and inside here whatever you write, it's going to be the title of your page. By title, I'll show you what I mean by title. My first website. Let's see what it does. So after I refresh it, as you can see here, it says I want this to be seen by everyone. That's what I put in my body section, and I put the title as my first website. Now this title is what you see right here. You see here on the tab, that's how your website will be recognized by other people when they have multiple tabs open. So you got the idea how it works. So basically HTML is just a bunch of these tags put together. Here you can see this HTML tag, that's the main outer container of our website. Inside that container we have two containers, head and body. Inside head we have title container. Inside body we don't have any container, we just have contents. Alright, pretty straightforward, easy so far. That's exactly how you make your website. Just put all these tags inside one another to form the best possible looking thing that you can imagine on your head, and you have your website. But obviously I'm going to give you more example here. I'm not just going to leave you right here. Not like those engineering classes where they simply teach you what letters are, then they expect you to write literature out of it. It's ridiculous. So to further this website, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more containers in the body so we can arrange a lot of different things and make our little website that you can play with a little bit before I make another video. Another important tag is what we call div tags. Pretty much all the websites will have some kind of div tags. Div are the main types of containers that you are going to be using for a long time if you are going into HTML. There are two types of container. One is the type that takes the entire line, and the other type of container is the one that does not take the entire line, obviously. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. For now, I'm going to have two divs here. Let me make one more actually. Let's say this is going to be my footer, and this is going to be where I put my navigation, and here is my contents. My navigation is going to take one entire line. This is my contents. It's going to take another entire line, and this is going to take another entire line in our website. So if I refresh this again, as you can see, my navigation, even though it has all this space remaining here, this one goes to next line and this one goes to next line. One example of the container that does not take the entire line is the span. Refresh this, and here you can see this is not taking the entire line, right? You can put this right after the span 1. Span 2 is right after span 1. Now most of the time you want to identify these divs. You just don't want to call them divs. If someone asks you what kind of div it is, you have to have some kind of identification. So for that you usually give id equals to something. So for this one I'm going to say navigation, this one I'm going to say main container, and this one I'm going to say footer. Alright. Now the thing about ID is always try to have unique IDs for each container, otherwise your website will not behave as you might expect. These three divs, they are very independent right now. I could consider this body to be wrapping all these divs, but I usually make another div to wrap these three divs. And if you do not plan on just putting navigation here, this might even be your entire header, and you can have navigation div inside the header as well. There are so many ways to make this navigation that it's not even funny. But I'm going to use the simplest method here, and it's the unordered list in HTML, and you can identify that by UL. Now this will create an unordered list, and if you want an element to be inserted in this unordered list, you put them inside li tags. Now since it is navigation, you want whatever you put here to navigate to some other part on your website, and to send it to some other part you use something called anchor tags, just given by a, like that, and you have to give where you want to send it with the property of a tag called href. Okay, so whatever you put in here, that's where your link will take it, and whatever name that you want to show up there on the screen, you type it inside here, for example home. And usually you put whatever the location is for your home directory on your website, but for now I'm just going to keep hash. Hash means just you are just reserving this link. Maybe you will write it to be something later on, or you might use JavaScript to do something with it, which we'll also talk about later. But for now just keep it like this, and I'm going to copy this 4 times so that I have 4 list items. And I'm going to give this UL an ID equals navigation. Now let's see how it looks, shall we? So there you go, you have 4 links here. You can click it to go to some other part on your website. Right now it does not go anywhere because they have simply given it to be a hash. If you want this to go to some other place, you could simply give the link to that particular website, for example http:/google.com, and if you refresh it again, if you click on home, that will take you to google.com. Now whatever you have written here, or if you want to check something on a website, you can simply go and right click on your website, and if you do view page source, you see exactly what you wrote here. You see? But you cannot modify this, of course. To be able to modify what you wrote, you can instead do inspect, and right here this is exact code you have written, and you can actually change your code from here. For example, if you don't want to say copyright and you simply want to say copy, you can check it. But this effect is not permanent. Once you refresh this page, it will be gone. Now let's talk about styling this page to look a bit more like a better website. There are three ways of styling this page. The first one is called inline styling. I'll show you what I mean by inline styling right now. First of all, for inline styling, for example, you want to say put some styles on this div, body div right here. You can simply do style property equals, and whatever style you want to put here, you can start typing here. I'm just going to give some border to this particular box, and you can see how it looks. Border column 1 pixel solid red, let's say. And I'm going to give this property to pretty much all the objects here so that you'll be able to see what's going on here. Alright, let's see how it looks. Now, as you can see here, this black bordered one, that is your body. So this black one is your entire body part of your HTML page. The yellow one, where you have set it to be the main container, is containing all the things that you have written so far, and it will grow as you start putting content in it, and it will wrap exactly what you need and nothing more, unless you specify the height, which we'll talk about later. And this does not look so good putting in this way, so I'm going to put everything in the center. So I'm going to say everything inside this body will have to be center. So if you want to give another property, you put semicolon and say text align is going to be center. Refresh it, everything is in center now. We want a bit more extra content here, so let's find some contents to put in here. And I usually go to something called lorem ipsum. It generates random paragraph in a language no one can read, so 5 paragraphs is fine. Generate lorem ipsum. There's our content. Alright, so we have a bit of contents. Refresh this. Now, as you can see here, even though there are paragraphs here, it is not recognizing here as the paragraphs. So if you want them to recognize different paragraphs as different paragraphs, then you say that it is a paragraph by using p tags like this. And refresh it, and you can see it is in different paragraphs now. Now let's make this navigation a little bit better. We don't want these dots here. Since it is a unordered list, it puts this bullet points, so let's get rid of that. So let's go to UL and style it a little bit. Style equal, and refresh it, so the bullet points are gone. Now you might not want them to be in different lines. You might want them on the single line here, because this is navigation, so let's put that in a single line as well. And to do that, we are going to have to go to our li property right here, give it a style, and say display inline. Alright, let's check it out. Here it is, looks much better. So let's put some space between all of these. So for that, you can say padding, and let's put 10 pixel padding. So when you simply say 10 pixel, it will put padding on all sides of our li object. Refresh it. So much more better, right? So in this one, instead of border, let me give some background color. Let's just say blue. And you don't have to give the name of the color. You can simply use the hash code if you know those, or you can simply use RGB function, or RGBA works as well. For now, I'm just going to say blue. It makes life a lot easier right now. Now, as you can see, the text color here is also blue, so let's change that to something else. Let's change the style of A to be color, make it white. Looks nice. We don't want this underline, so let's get rid of that. Now, something I want to tell you here, you might have noticed that here, if I want a style, I have to write this redundant line of codes every time I want to change something on A, every time I want to change something on ELI. So to get rid of this, we can do another type of styling, and we call that internal style sheet. For this one, I'm going to say style, and I'm going to give it a type called text/CSS. We want cascading style sheets. Now this is where you can put all your styles in one single place, and for one particular type of tag you don't have to write redundant codes, inline styling like this. This is not a good practice, by the way, and you should avoid this as much as possible. So to put all these things just like the way it is right now, for body, since we are referring the tag, all you have to do is this, and inside this you can define what property you want, and all I'm going to do is copy whatever I have here, put that here. And always make a habit of ending with a semicolon, just in case you forgot it later to add a semicolon here and you start giving another property and it will not work. Now since I was using the tag, I simply wrote body, right? So that will work. Now the other thing that I want to do here is give a style to div, but this div is different than other divs here, so I want to just refer to this particular div, and I can do that by using the ID. That's the importance of the ID right here. And I'm going to call ID with a hashtag main container, and whatever I have here, I'm going to put that right there. Get rid of the style that I have already put in. And now I want to target this ULI inside the navigation, and I can simply do navigation and then ULI. It means that it will target all the ULIs that is inside this navigation. Does not necessarily mean the ULI right immediately after this navigation tag here. If you have a ULI and inside this you have another UL and ULI inside that UL, then it will also apply the same styling to that ULI as well. If you want to target just the immediate ULI, then you can use the greater than sign. Now finally, I want to target the A inside that ULI, and so going to say A. We want color to be white and text decoration to be none. If it is the last property without having semicolon works. If it is not, always make sure you have a semicolon. Alright, so now our HTML looks much more cleaner. Let's see how this works. If we did everything well, we should not see any change on the page at all. So refresh this and no change. So means all the styling that we have done here works perfectly as we expected. Now it does not look as messy as it used to look before. Now, another way of doing the same thing is putting this style information on a different page. And to do that, let me quickly show you how to do that. Create another file. It's going to be a text file, and I'm going to call this simply style.css. Okay, open it with any text editor again, and I'm going to copy all this style here, put this in this file, get rid of these style tags. Now instead in HTML, I'm simply going to refer to that style sheet. So to do that, I'm going to say link relation style sheet ref equals to style.css. Since it is in the same directory, we don't have to give any path, and type equals to text/css and close it. Now as you can see here, I haven't given any end tag like this because there is another way of ending a tag, which is just by giving slash here, because inside this link I don't need to put any information between the tags, so I don't really need to have a separate closing tag for this particular type of tags. So there are tags like that. Another one like that is image tag. If you want to include an image, it also does not have a closing tag. You can have a closing tag, but it's not necessary. So now let's see. We should not see any change. See, it works fine. So let's go to our source. Now we can see we have our link here, style.css. If you want to open this up, you can also have a look at what is included in the CSS file as well. And so there we go. That is going to be your first website. In later videos, we are going to improve on the same website and make it better and better over time. So stay tuned for that. We are going to make this dynamic. We are going to include some interesting PHPs, do some designs, and talk about database, get into more complex stuff, So if you haven't already, subscribe. If this video helped you, if you like this video, give that like button a click. If you have any thoughts, put them down in the comment below. If you think this video will help someone share this video with them. And remember, C++ video every Monday and web development video every Thursday. Don't forget to check it out. And you guys are awesome for watching this video.